Good morning and welcome to Community Focus. I'm Faith Daniels. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Today, we have an opportunity to chat with Emerge Recovery and Trade Initiative. This is an incredible organization right here in the Miami Valley that is going to talk to us about not only life skills, about training, but also how to bring the whole person all together and execute an amazing future. We have the pleasure to speak with Elaine Bonner. Welcome, Elaine.
Thank you for having me, Faith. It's my honor and privilege to be with you today.
Well, it's delightful to chat with you because a lot of people don't know that recovery, training, and life applications, it all goes together to build the whole person. So tell us about your organization.
Well, it is a one of a kind organization, as you mentioned. And really, I'm here today because God has a plan. He brought together three individuals who are courageous and faith filled men who are successful businessmen in the trades. They purchased the former Greene County Career Technology Center at auction, and their vision is to turn this building, repurpose it into a place of hope and healing for men and women in recovery, as well as a separate population, which are youth as they reach the age of 18 who are exiting the foster care system. And under this roof of 240,000 square feet of space, we are calling it transformational housing because we will transform the lives of the men and women we walk alongside. The very unique piece is that there will be a trade school on site at Emerge that will offer certifications and trainings in the trades, which is so important right now. We're in desperate need of skilled tradesmen. They will earn a good starting salary, and at Emerge, they will get their certification, on the job training, apprenticeships, and eventually will be employed. And so when they leave their recovery journeys, they will go out into the world and they will be able to reunite with their families, and they will be able to have a wonderful living wage and productive life.
Well, now that is a mouthful because I mean, I heard three amazing pieces that we really want to take little bites of. The recovery process. How can people be referred to the organization to be a part of the recovery process? We know that there have been a number of plagues to hit the Miami Valley that have absolutely torn families to shreds. And we are hoping to be able to funnel individuals that are needing recovery, that are going or need to be referred for recovery. Tell me about that piece.
Well, Faith, right now we are in a startup phase. As I mentioned, this all developed last year. And in order to turn a school into a place for housing is just a huge undertaking. We're calling it a God-sized vision because it can only be done through the grace of God. And so we will be having a phased in approach for our programming. We can't do it all at once. It's going to be millions of dollars, but we are going to focus on our men's recovery program first.
Okay.
That area of our building has a little bit more of the renovations and infrastructure in place. And we're looking at a 6 month process before we can complete that. So, all in, I would think we would be up and running in early January of next year. But in the meantime, we still want to be a resource for people. I mean, we have people every day reaching out to us that their son or daughter needs help in their recovery journey, and we will be referring them on to other organizations that can help them immediately. But we do want people to know about Emerge now because of the unique aspect of adding that vocational piece along with their recovery journey.
And that's important because that's the next step that everybody is thinking about, just the recovery journey. But that recovery journey has to have an end phase. And the end phase is to returning people to the community, to society with a viable trade where they can take care of themselves and continue the lifelong process that we know recovery is. With this particular portion of it, is that available for individuals to research and get more information about building their skills and building their trade with you?
Well, you can always have people go to our website, which is emergerecoverytrade.com. Our founders are part of three successful businesses in the trades. And let me just mention their names because I think that's worthy of all of you hearing. Because as you're looking for renovations for your own home projects, when you um, enlist the services of these companies, they're pouring their money back into this nonprofit Emerge, and they're not doing it for their own benefit, but to be able to share their wealth to form Emerge. They've actually contributed around $1 million of their own money to this point. So Kip Morris is with Five Star Home Services. Chris Adams is with Narrow Path Plumbing, and Doug Van Dyke is with Van Martin Roofing. So two of the founders are actually operating their businesses out of Emerge at this time. And another really interesting fact is that they have been doing this model of being a second chance employer for over 10 years now. They know this works, they know it's successful. Approximately 40 to 50% of their workforce currently in place are people going through their recovery journeys.
That's incredible. And then to build on that, to be able to expand and engage a larger population is absolutely incredible. Now, the piece that you mentioned very quickly, but when you are focusing on individuals who have aged out of the foster care system, that is a population that we don't hear a lot about. It exists, and they are in a very, very pivotal part in their life's journey, and your organization is going to step to the plate in that area as well.
Exactly. And we just know that there are not a lot of options for youth aging out of foster care. And if they don't have someone following that journey into adulthood, unfortunately, many of them end up homeless and many of them end up with substance use disorder, which we really want to prevent that from happening. And so at that age 18, I don't know about your viewers, but if my children at age 18 had to just live life on their own with no parents, no direction, I don't know if they could survive. So this is just so close to all of our hearts here at Emerge. And we know that they need things like life skills and they've gone through trauma. And so mental health services will be available for them, getting their GED, getting a driver's license, because when they're in the foster care system, they're not allowed to get a driver's license. So opening a bank account, all of these things that many parents teach their children in their home are lacking for these individuals aging out of foster care.
Now, that is a tremendous undertaking, just that alone. And it will definitely bridge the gap for so many of those young people that are coming into their own with a few more tools that they will be able to use, execute, and really make really life applications to be formidable citizens. And we're excited about that. Now, you have a young lady that has an organization that is under the umbrella of your organization. Tell us a little bit about her before we chat with her.
Oh, sure. Missy Adams is the executive director of Hope Hub, and her passion is to walk alongside women in recovery. Missy has her own long term recovery journey herself, and she knows the challenges of going through recovery and having a clean and sober life. But then what? What's the next step? She'll talk about how once you achieve that, you have to re-enter the world. And if you don't have the skills to cope with the real world because you
Mhm.
never knew what a healthy relationship was like, you can relapse and you can go back into a circle of addiction over and over again. So her heart and passion is to make a difference for women, and her story is incredible.
Well, let's chat with Missy. Hi, Missy. Thanks
Hi,
for
Miss J.
joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, she spoke a mouthful about you, and
Oh, yes,
we
you
are
did.
excited to have you join us today. Tell us a little bit about your journey and then how it transitioned into this amazing organization to help others.
Absolutely. Oh, it's a very long journey, so I'll take 20 years and try to pop it in about 2 minutes.
Right,
So,
right.
I was an addict for over 20 years, and what I learned along that journey was getting sober. Not doing drugs was the easy part, but I was trapped in that cycle of how do I do life? I didn't know how to break that cycle of living, of thinking, of choosing, of being.
Of course.
Addiction went from something that I did to who I was. It quickly became my identity, and I didn't know how to escape that. And so I'm not positive of who said the quote, but there's a quote that says the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. And
Mm,
for me, that was transformational. So, like I said, I went 20 years of using, and I've been in inpatient, outpatient, lockdown, jail, all of the rehabs you could think of, and I just never could seem to break that cycle. So the thing that changed for me was the community of people and the relationships that I built coming out of that. I remember in the last program that I was in, I hit this place of like, holy crap, and now what? I only knew how to live, think, choose, and be as an addict did. Like that's all I knew. I did not know how to save money, budget money. I knew how to worry about today. I had no clue how to have a healthy relationship
true.
with a man. Like I knew how to hook up, have sex, move in, rinse, repeat, but I didn't know how to have a true relationship to experience true intimacy and vulnerability apart from the physical relationship. I had no clue how to be a mother, how to be a sister. Um, I didn't know how to balance work, life, fun. It's, I laugh now, but I remember asking the director of my last program, I said, what do sober people talk about? Like, I had no clue. And I'm a people person. I love people. I have to talk. But I was like, what do they talk about? Like, do you read the paper and talk about what's in the
Right, right.
newspaper?
Current events,
Yeah.
things
I'm
that
like,
other
so,
people are interested in. I get that. I
yeah.
totally get that. And it is a completely different existence because when you are in an addict mode, it's about the next high, how to
Yeah.
get there, how to get it, what and who do we have to do to get it,
Yeah.
and then being able to find your way back to sober living. And I think that's what a lot of people miss. It's not just being sober, it's sober living,
Yes.
going to the grocery store, doing laundry. And what does your mind think about
Mhm.
when you're doing these things? Where before it was, hurry up, let me do this because then I get to XYZ, or do I do it at all?
Yes.
You created an organization that is built on your history, built on your sacrifice, and now it's going to be a blessing to other people. Tell us how your organization works.
Yeah, so we are Hope Hub Xenia, and so we are a transformational living facility. And so we coined that phrase transformational living because we are that in between space. It's like I'm sober, but I have to go
Mhm.
do life. So, how do I do that? And so, we are about a 14 to 16 month facility. And the phrase we like to use is we are not responsible for you, but we're responsible to you.
That's
So we
beautiful.
want to teach you how to begin to make healthy choices,
Mhm.
what that looks like to begin to learn who you are in Christ, what that matters in my life, who you are as a woman. And so we'll hit all of the areas. Obviously, we have job training, we have GED, we have trauma counseling, we'll have, alcohol and drug counseling, all of those things, but we want to dig a little deeper. We want to get into the heart and the root of the issue
That's
and
beautiful.
really begin to understand the why. Because until we address the root, until we understand why
Mhm.
we choose to numb or what it is we're numbing and why we're numbing it, then we'll just continue to go back to that thing. And so,
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are a lot of things about this conversation that the average listener says, you know what? Great. You guys are doing great work. Awesome. Doesn't affect me. Not true.
yeah,
Every addict has a ripple effect
yeah,
on their family, on their coworkers, on their neighbors, on their children, on their grandparents, on their parents, on their siblings. Anyone that is connected, whether very, very closely or remotely, is affected by the addict's behavior. When you think about, well, if I just don't think about that person, or every time they come around, I don't let them in, or there's more to it than that. Those are very short term fixes to healing and helping the whole person. And by doing it that way, there are a lot of other missing pieces that we who are uneducated in that area or who lack the training to support our family members in that area. We just don't have it. Your organizations come together to offer these amazing tools to help those individuals find their way back from addiction. And it can happen. There are a number of success stories that I'm sure both of you could share with us that make it a thing to make this a priority. And we've seen this all over where people say, let's normalize this, let's normalize that. Let's normalize healing ourselves and our family members with resources just like your organizations. It's very important that my listeners get connected with both of you. So, Elaine, how can anyone reach out for more information in addition to following along so that when we're ready to engage and invite them, they can be in line, paperwork in hand, to start this amazing journey?
Well, I would send people to our website, which has a link to Missy's website as well. So again, it's emergerecoverytrade.com. And I would also like to mention that there's another campaign going on right now called Beat the Stigma. And, we're trying to get the point across that addiction is a disease, not a decision. And it's really made me rethink my own bias against people who are struggling with this. It hasn't affected my life, as you said, maybe of your many of your listeners, but it does affect 1 in 3 really directly or indirectly, and it affects communities. We want healthy communities. And so this stigma campaign is another place people can go. It's called beatthestigma.org. And it's going to help us really come together as a community to support people and kind of push aside some of the notions that we have. We don't want to define people by the lowest point in their life. None of us want to be defined that way. We've all stumbled and fallen, and we're human beings, and that's just who we are. But to define somebody at their lowest point, we can do better than that.
Well, and I think that is the point we are trying to make here. No matter what stage you are in life, whether it is exiting the foster care system, whether it is definitely struggling through every single day of recovery, there's an organization or a group of organizations that are willing, available, and desperately want to help. And this is where we make the decision. How can people call and get more information, and give us the website one more time?
It is emergerecoverytrade.com. And I just ask that your listeners pray for those who are suffering. We cannot have enough prayer warriors out there. With
Absolutely.
people with substance use disorder, like I said, this is a disease that has taken hold of their life. And I've just learned so many stories of how some of these things started at age 5 for people, no
Yes.
fault of their own. So we need to stop the judgment, and we need to have love enter in and come together and think what we could do for our community if we could just change our mindset and accept these people. That they're all children of God, and they're all made in his likeness.
That's
And
correct.
let's lift them up and let's do something positive.
And every day we're going to have an opportunity, because here in the Miami Valley, we've seen what the heroin addiction has done to families. There are a huge percentage of families that are grandmothers or great grandmothers raising great grandchildren and grandchildren, because the fathers, mothers, grandfathers, grandmothers even have been taken off the life path with addiction. And you said it very well, and I can only concur. An addiction is a disease, and we have to see it as such. You wouldn't shun or look down on someone with diabetes or a heart condition. We are in the same boat, and it's going to take all of us to help heal, redirect, and develop our fellow brothers and sisters as they put one foot in front of the other on this amazing journey. So,
Absolutely.
Elaine and
Yes.
Melissa, thank you both for joining me today.
Oh, thank you, Faith.
Thank you. It was my honor.
It's been our pleasure. And if you've missed any portion of this interview, you can find it on our website at 921wrou.com and click the Community Focus page. You've been checking out Community Focus. I'm Faith Daniels. Enjoy your day.